is Channon Rose, and today I'm going to be telling you my very first period story. So the first time I ever got my period, and I know that my hair is a hot mess, and that's just like my mood today because right now I'm on my period. We don't care about the hair. I hope you guys don't either. I hope it's not too distracting.
I give a damn about my reputation. Living in the past, new generation.
Okay, so let's get into the story. My goodness. Okay, where do I even start? So I had heard about like periods, right? I was in the 6th grade when I got my period. I was 12 years old, and I had heard from like my sister. I thankfully had an older sister. She was kind of like a second mom, and she taught me a lot of things. So she had told me about stuff, and you know, I think you learn about it from school. I don't really remember if we were taught in school or not, or if like it was just like talked about from my family. I don't remember because it was so long ago, but I did go to a private Christian school, and I know that like everybody at that school, like all the kids and stuff, were very conservative and came from very conservative families, and so nobody talked about their period or if they got it or anything. Like no one knew. Like even with my friends like that went to my school, I didn't know if they got their period or not, and nobody had said anything to me about it. So it was kind of one of those things that was like, I don't know, maybe this is weird, but like I wanted to get my period. I was like excited. I'm like, how come I don't have my period? Like I want to get my period. Like that's so cool. I don't know why. I think I was just like excited because I really wanted to like use like pads and tampons, and like I don't know, I was excited about that whole thing, and I was like looking forward to it, and I really wanted it because I thought it was cool for some reason. I know a lot of people are like maybe scared to get their period or like whatever, and when I did get my period I was freaking out, but we'll get to that in a second. But like yeah, so this whole time I was like all excited about it. Girl, if I knew myself back then, like 12-year-old Shannon, I've been like, honey, slow down. You do not want to get your period. Like change your mind real quick. You don't want it. Like stop saying you want it. You're playing yourself, girl. You know? But I didn't know back then, and I just like was really excited and wanted to get my period. Maybe I'm totally weird. I don't know. So yeah, that's how I was like feeling about it, but I never knew like when I was going to get it. I thought I wasn't going to get it till I was like way older. So in the 6th grade, I happened to be hanging out with my older sister at her house. For those of you guys that don't know, I have an older half sister. We have the same dad. I have an older half brother. We have the same dad, and they're a lot older than me. So at the time when I was in the 6th grade, my older sister had her own condo with her boyfriend at the time, and I was really close with her, and so my mom had dropped me off for the day to like hang out with her, and we were hanging out, and I just went to the bathroom, and I remember like going to the bathroom. And for some reason, like, I don't know about you, but like I always look down at like whatever just came out of me in the toilet. I don't know if you guys do that or not, but like I like to inspect what's coming out of my body, okay? Like when I pee, I look down before I wipe to look at it. When I go number 2, I look to see what that number 2 looks like, okay? Call me weird. So when I had looked down, and yes, I did this at a young age. I think I even talk about how like I once ate my poop before too when I was little because I wanted to know what it tastes like. I was like real little though, so like before those judgy ass comments come through, just know that. Anyways, I'm like going off track on like a total tangent. But I had looked down and there was blood. And let me tell you something, I did not think it was my period, okay? I didn't know what it was. I thought that I was having a baby, even though I had never had sex before. That was the thought that was going through my head. I'm like, oh my god, I'm pregnant. I was like, I'm fucking pregnant. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Like what, how'd this happen? And then the other thing was, I thought I was like, if I wasn't pregnant, I was definitely dying. So I am on the toilet, looking down, just sitting there for like a while, like waiting for a baby to pop out. Oh, or like waiting to die, because I was just like in sheer panic mode because I didn't think that it was my period, because it was way too soon to get my period. I was only 12 years old. Like you don't get your period till you're like 17. This is like what I thought in my head. Great education they had back then, right? But I am at my sister's house, and I'm really close with my sister. So after like, you know, 30 seconds of no baby coming out and me still alive, I'm like, Sissy. I call my sister Sissy. I've always called her that. It's like what we all call each other. I call my little sister Birdie, even though her name's Brittany. We have like nicknames. So I was like, Sissy. And I don't think she heard me. I'm like, sis. And she comes in and I'm like, I'm bleeding. And she was like, oh. And then she's like, oh, she's like, you're becoming a woman. And I was like, you mean I'm not pregnant? She's like, have you had sex? And I was like, no. And I was like all offended that she would even ask me that. And she's like, you got your period. And I was like, so I'm not dying? And she was like, no, we need to take you to the store. And I was like, ooh, we get to go shopping? And then like once I realized I wasn't dying or pregnant, I was like, oh my God, I got my period, I'm a woman. Like I was like, yay! I was so excited and so happy. We were like celebrating that I got my period. It was like a happy time in my life, I guess. And I was like excited that I got it because I got to like use pads and like feel so cool because like I'm becoming a woman and getting older and like that's so cool. I don't know, but that's just like what I thought when I was 12 years old. So she gave me a pad and then she ended up taking me to like the store and like got a bunch of different like pads and panty liners, and she didn't buy me tampons. So my older sister is very conservative, and which is like the total opposite of like my mom and dad. Actually, both my sisters are pretty conservative. So my older sister was like, she's too young for tampons. Like she's not going to be able to use tampons yet. So we're just going to buy her pads. And she like was so sweet, and I'm so like grateful for her because I don't know what I would do without her. She taught me so many things, but like she taught me like the proper etiquette of like when you remove a pad, you roll it up and then you roll it in toilet paper so that nobody can see what it is, and you dispose of it in the wastebasket. And like, you know, all these proper things about like what you're supposed to do and how you have to make sure to wash your hands and shower every day. Like she was very like good about all that stuff. So I was very well educated from the day I got my period with like pads and stuff. And then when I ended up getting home, I told my mom that I got my period. She's like, oh, you don't want to wear pads, like those are disgusting, just put a tampon in. So that's how I ended up wearing tampons, because once I put a tampon in and figured how the F to do that, then I was like, oh, I don't want to wear pads anymore. Those things are gross and they feel so uncomfortable. You don't realize how uncomfortable pads are until you switch to a tampon. Thankfully, I was not like at school or like somewhere weird, because then I would have really been freaking out. So I was really grateful that I was actually just like, it was a weekend and it wasn't like on a school day or anything. So that's basically the story of how I got my first period. And yeah, let me know about your first period. Please let me, I'm actually really curious to know about your first period story. So leave them down in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Oh, also, before I go, if you guys are curious about me making a video on like periods and like proper like hygiene and how to dispose of things, and like the difference between pads and tampons and menstrual cups and panty liners, and like what the difference between panty liners and pads are, or what I think the best is when you first start and all that stuff, let me know down in the comments, because I'd be happy to make a video like that. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you all my love and all my positive energy, and I hope to see you in my next video. Mwah! Tana, I'd love to forcibly ejaculate my semen against your cervix on your birthday. Hope all is well, Thomas.